ready? Huh? Hey, easy boy, huh? You ready? Huh?
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Counter-Strike is sharing incredible moments with us and will return to a memorable place. Get your tickets now at proleague.com/Dallas.
All right, we're coming back now for the second map in this doubleheader of Renegades and OpTic. My name is Stunna. This is Bach. We're going to kind of walk you guys right into this one. But before I do that, I want to share with you that you should, and you know, most of you, if you're listening to my voice at least, you will go out to Dallas, you will go to the Verizon Center, and you will check out these Pro League finals. Get your tickets right now, proleague.com/Dallas. Be there or be square. And you know what? When we're going to talk about squares, we're going to talk about maps that aren't going to be here for much longer. And that's Dust2. And that's going to be OpTic and Renegades on Dust2.
It's actually a 4-square map design, too.
It's weird how
it's
that
one
works.
Of those, yeah, it's weird how that works, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, Dust2 is a map that's slowly being pushed away. All the leagues are starting to adjust to the ruling that came out from Valve that removed it from the active rotation. And if we were going to see a close game, that was going to be it. We thought that that was going to be a real fight from both Renegades and OpTic. Instead, it ended up being OpTic coming out swinging. I had originally picked Dust2 as Renegades map. After seeing the way they played there, I'm not so sure anymore.
Well, let's take a look now at what Mr. DeBears has to say about Dust2. Or we don't do that, and then, in which case, I will actually personally talk about Dust2, and I'll throw down my cue cards for this. Let's talk a little bit about Dust2 and the doors, a problem that I feel like has been a gleaming issue across the board for quite a while now. I don't know if I get the same feel from these doors as I did from the wooden ones.
You think that will be part of the remake? You think they'll bring back the wooden doors?
I could see, you know, honestly.
What if the whole map is wood, just as a troll? They just come back with an entirely wooden map.
If it doesn't change, I can just guess there's going to be mass hysteria in the streets, cats and dogs living together, just total unruly chaos. And, you know, we might be seeing some of that already, but that's not the point. The point is we need those wooden doors back.
Maybe someone will actually clean and we can call it DE Dustless.
DE Dustless. Well, how about DE Dust2? Take it away, Eric.
Thank you, Stunna, and here I am for another edition of Let's See Who Wins This Round. As we take a look at Team Renegades, they are on an eco right now with only one rifle. Now, on a map like Dust2, thankfully it's not coming back for a while, they are pushing towards this B bomb site because it's the shortest of the long angles. You take middle, you got this whole long shebang, you got long, this whole thing. So why not just take away one side of the map? And as you can see, Renegades does this very nicely. They have Ustilo with the AK with 2 supports of the pistolers. Now, by doing this, CLG did not expect this at all, and it catches Hazed off guard, where Ustilo gets nice headshots. Now there's 2 guns for Team Renegades, and what this did is, after them taking tunnels, it puts Cutler in a really bad spot, and Yam is able to capitalize on this by flanking him. So now it's a 5-on-3 on an eco. They have 3 guns, and it forces CLG to take all the way towards this long bomb site, as you see him do right there. And now it's bad smokes, bad situation for CLG. 5-on-3 it's really hard for them to win this round. It's not impossible, but Team Renegades ended up winning the round, and it's securing the victory for that side. Back to you, Stunna.
Thank you, Mr. Stromboli. I do appreciate that. Nonetheless, let's talk about Dust2. Let's talk about these 2 teams.
So we were talking about it before. Like we were saying, you know, the map's being pulled out of the active rotation. Some people are upset about it, but we were talking about that creativity. How creative can you get? As someone who is heavily involved in the pro scene, maybe more in the background at one point in time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
When was the last time you saw a team really come out swinging with a really strong execute on Dust2? You're like, wow, I've never seen that before.
Well, I guess you got me there.
So the reason I bring that up is because we talked about OpTic swapping their in-game leader. How much effect was it going to have? You know, realistically speaking, there's not a crazy deep playbook that you have to call out for the side of Dust2 if you're on OpTic. We've seen teams who basically just exploit mid to B, like consecutive rounds in a row. That was like, for some period in time, the common play for a lot of teams was just like, let's just take mid to B as many times as we can, and teams weren't really able to do anything about it. Now, obviously, you know, the map has changed a little bit, and it's not as successful as it once was, but if you're OpTic, you can kind of rely on the fact that the map is a little bit stale. So I don't know how much work they've put in with Naf as the in-game leader on Dust2, and based on the performance against Selfless last night, it wasn't fantastic, but at the same point in time, because it's Dust2, they can kind of just rely on the fact that it's old, it's standard, everything's kind of cut and dry.
I mean, it does give that opportunity for a Puggy-style approach to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, in general, like when you're looking at the map pool right now, the 2 puggiest maps would probably be Dust2 and Cache. Like 2 maps where you can really get away with not putting in too much work and just kind of exploiting your aim.
Well, I'm going to throw it over to the commentators. Before I do that, give me a quick prediction.
I think OpTic takes this one now. I'm going to say 6. I'm not going to predict this.
Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself.
No, because
don't do that to yourself.
What ends up happening is, yeah, I'm not going to do that. But I think OpTic takes it.
All right, I tell you who can take it from here. Let's give it to Daze. Let's give it to Blue. Take it away, Blaze.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Yeah, we are getting ready to jump into this second map now. It is going to be over on Dust2. And while originally, right, we said this is a good map for the Renegades, do you still hold that opinion after what we just saw back in map number 1?
I mean, I think like maps like Dust2, Cache, Cobble are definitely the best chance that Renegade has at beating, you know, OpTic. If OpTic decides not to ban Mirage anymore, which I actually think if they pick up Hiko, I think they might, you know, relook at that and maybe not ban that map anymore. Then I think Mirage is something that Renegades could beat them on as well. Having said that, I mean, they just got crushed on Cobble. But, you know, Dust2 is a completely different map. These guys have lost before, and, you know, games like that where you just get crushed sometimes it just happens. Nothing was working for them. Dust2 is even less strategical in my mind than Cobble, so you can get away with, you know, how Renegades tends to play a lot of the time, even more, as we are getting live into this pistol. Looks like they're setting up for a long take right here. And I think we are going to see that, Blue.
Yeah, so let's take a look now what the Renegades are going to do on this pistol. For the most part, again, just pretty much sending all their players directly out towards long here. OpTic Gaming will go for the group up across the map, but actually primarily into the B halls, which means the defense over here on this A site is going to be quite light. You have Naf sitting back up over here on the platform, getting ready for them to push back out, and he takes the duel, spots the entire play. Now he's going to need those reinforcements to roll back in here very quickly, but he does hold it back. There's more CTs, however, more of them moving back in, specifically Tarek on the catwalk. Naf is going to strike first, but he's down very, very low to 3 HP. He left the play back over there in the safe corner. Naf tapping back in again. He's able to score another one, despite having to play this passively. And all of a sudden, the rotates are here. The reinforcements have arrived. Ustilo, the only one to pick up a kill. Azur's going to change that, though. But Naf, he's got to go out, but he can't do it. Tarek is allowed to push back in, grab the final one, and it's OpTic again that control the pistol here. 3 for 3 so far in this matchup.
Yeah, and Naf getting a lot of info, able to just peek pretty freely along. He definitely should have gotten headshotted here. He fought for a while, and then he goes back behind his barrels, gets gooshed, just gets a nice shot through the smoke, and he gets another kill through the smoke when he tried planting single as well. I'm not sure why he tried planting single there. He should have planted behind the site where that couldn't have happened. So he's able to get two big kills there. and just retake as a team. Now Renegades on, loses another pistol. I think they're 0-for-3 right now in pistols against OpTic.
Yeah, and unfortunately with them being able to, unable, I should say, to get a good start with things like this, now we have to see the Renegades move themselves up over onto the catwalk position. And Yam, once again, will lead the charge. He actually gets great timing on this because it's just as one of the members of OpTic has actually gone back through into CT where they're not going to be careful of this, and there is nobody paying attention to it. Rush swings back, and no, again, he doesn't actually see this, so it's a massive amount of players that have snuck up to the site. They're going to prioritize just getting this bomb onto the ground as the rest are still working their way up from Cat here. But OpTic, well, they're not really able to do much either, as they're going to have to put themselves into a retake position here very quickly. JKS swinging out. He's got the angle, and Azur's actually going to finish the job. Another kill for them. Hiko responding finally, but the damage already being done. Azur swinging out again. He's going to be able to find Hiko and down to Rush. Well, he can't do anything about this, so he's going to fall back and save. But even that will get challenged by Azur now. Back over here, he'll get the kill, and immediately we're seeing that increased impact from him. 3K on this round as it upsets and allows the Renegades to tie this up at 1-1.
Yeah, and that was just a huge blunder by Mixwell and whoever was CT spawn. I think they were trying to boost onto the CT spawn box, and they completely give up catwalk. While the terrorists are already on catwalk, so they hear him rotating in spawn, and they just walk out freely into, hey, Rush is pretty lucky he didn't even get shot in the side of the head. I'm not sure what the game plan there was for OpTic. You really don't have to take risks like that when you're in, an anti-eco situation. But unfortunately for them, they get caught off guard, walk up catwalk, get the bomb down immediately, and then they try to retake from catwalk, and Renegades was just super set up, ready for it.
Well, now, again, we have to see what OpTic can do as they do go for the aggressive response. P250 armor buys, along with 5-7 and Deagle for Naf and Hiko. Naf specifically, again, getting aggressive inside of the long doors here, but JKS paying well attention to this one with the rest of the team, going for the usual stack up of Ts inside of the middle area. And OpTic not only holding an aggressive angle here either, they've got one player pushed up over there through catwalk as Mixwell takes up that spot. Rush moving in now, he's able to ice out the first kill, and it pushes more of them back, but there's the response from JKS. Again, we kind of figured that was going to happen since he had countered for that position, but Ricky, again, he's going to find one. However, here's Tarek once more in mid, finding Ustillo. It goes down to a 3v3. More damage, so even being done here to JKS, as he is now down at 3 HP. Smoke's being tossed back out. The rest of the Renegades moving back in. Rush will hold over here just at the edge of the cross. He's safe to go for it right now, but being passive for the right reasons, as there is reason to suspect that they'd be watching out for him, and, well, if he pushes it, he'll be a dead man pretty quickly. These two players from the Renegades are lit to hell. JKS at 3 and Yam at 13 HP. They really, or 11, excuse me, 11 HP. They're really not going to be able to fight this in 1v1 duels, but in comes Tarek swing, 1-for-1, but Rush also finding another kill back over there on the ramp. It's down to this last man alive, but he is caught looking down at the ground when Hiko peeks. So there's the retake from OpTic, and there's the re-upset now to allow them to take control again.
Yeah, just back and forth, back and forth. Renegades just getting P250 whipped middle, just consistently. Rush peeking, I think he dinked 3 people that round. Mixwell, on catwalk goes down, but the players are just so low on HP as Rush gets his go. I mean, honestly, it's pretty inexcusable to die here like this. If you're Renegades, just not throwing a smoke at mid doors and allowing that to happen, it's just something that should just never occur. Like, if you're going to do a catwalk control, especially against an eco round, one of the most common things is Renegades is able to full buy, though, pretty much. They have a scout, 3 AKs, and an op. But one of the things you so commonly see on ecos is like a mid and a cat split. So you always want to smoke in the middle if you're going to go up catwalk.
Tarek finding the shutdown here onto these guys as they do try to just force their way out of the B tunnels. It's not going to go well. Ricky unfortunately kills his teammate in this situation as Ustillo is taken down. Ricky, well, I should say Ustillo, unfortunately getting in the way of Ricky's spray, so that will take him down. And now for these last two, they'll have to push their way outside. The bomb is trying to wrap its way back over through T-spawn right now, but Rush is in a great corner position. He does swing out early here, so Ricky will get the kill there. Again, making up for the team kill we saw earlier. Beyond this, though, there really is not a whole lot of control gain for the Renegades, and they don't have a whole lot of hope of clutching out this 2v4, even with Hiko and Tarek being heavily lit right now. As the OpTic members have moved in, they've kind of crunched and limited the potential areas that the Renegades are going to be able to push out from without having to, at the very least, fight one of the members of OpTic.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a very, very difficult spot, and Renegades just employing that same strategy, just a brute force type take. Not many, just so many simple mistakes I see from them, and not only that, but just a lack of like strategy, a lack of methodicalness. Everything just seems like, maybe on the start round, hey, let's take catwalk and go up A, instead of being like, all right, let's take catwalk, hold, I'll smoke mid, I'll flash over, I'll flash you up cat and Molotov the stairs and things like that.
Well, there's going to be Ricky finding another kill on the Dust, so at the very least, they make this plausible now after winning that duel out. They're not just rushing in through these angles where they have to fight members of OpTic. They're taking it out. They're baiting these players into the open. Again, keep in mind on the timer, though, they do realize that they are not going to be able to get into a bomb site in time, so this will still be around for OpTic, but at least they do damage at the end of it. And not only that, too, but they are able to more than likely save these final 2 guns. JKS and Ricky both fall away. That's not been an AK that'll be carried over into the next round, but OpTic, again, controlling things here as they go up 3-1.
Yeah, and they're probably going to force off this. I mean, I definitely would if I was them. You know, whenever you have an op, even if you have like 4 pistols around it, they still have an AK around it, you're able to do a lot of things just when it comes to just letting an op lead in and maybe winning the round that way. Maybe like a late round B lead in, or, you know, you see he takes the op here. This is a chance for him to get a pick as well.
Well, Ricky again. Trying to take the timing shot there as the CTs will go for the cross to hold long position just a little bit early, as it would seem. Beyond this, the Renegades, again, stacking up in the usual positions for a group-up play towards middle. Nothing else really happening beyond that. Again, you've got the player that pushed out towards pit from the OpTic side, but it is it's actually 2 players sitting on A. The only real thing of note here is the fact that they have left mid open, so should the Renegades try to go for some sort of mid to B split right now, they are going to have an easy time of pushing out and getting that initial staging area mid. We would assume that they'd be able to try and smoke things off back over here. They still have a smoke in their arsenal, but actually it seems like mid for the most part is probably going to be ignored. This might just be another attempt to push their way out of the tunnels, where again, you have this 2-man setup ready to immediately shut this down, and we saw that happen just in the last round, and they even had more gunpowder than this previously.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for them, the smoke comes out, but this is a smart play. I still think they should wait for this smoke. They don't have to push in through it. You're kind of not playing to your strengths when you do that. You know, had they been posted on the smoke, of course, as soon as I say that, they run through the smoke and get 2 entries and take the site. But, you know, generally speaking, the way they wanted to win that round is OpTic is just going to go into a save here, is just let Ricky walk in B and op in, and if he gets the initial entry, they could just swarm the site. They have multiple smokes to back it up. They're almost certainly going to win that round, as long as they could trade evenly and put it into a 3v3 or maybe even a 4v3. But they just opt to just underhand flash through the smoke, and you know, Hiko and Tariq just aren't really watching like the actual choke point for them to come out the smoke, and they win the round pretty cleanly, pretty easily. And
we do see here now, as obviously as Dave's mentioned with the OpTic guys falling back to save. The main benefit with which they actually forged their way into the site there is Tarek again did have to play kind of a double duty of being able to support Hiko on the push in through the B bomb site there, along with watching out towards mid. I think when the push actually starts, his attention is drawn a lot more towards mid, so he's caught in the open. And while he does catch one of the kills on the trade, ultimately, again, he is shut down there, so they do get a quick path in, and those last 3, again, it's a smart save. There's really nothing you can do in that scenario, as you don't have any intel. Our post-plant situations are going to be along the fact that, again, there's still 5 players essentially at full HP. Some great entries there from JKS as their quick kills to push back in. But still, now it's OpTic with the save, and they're going to force back into this next round as well.
Yeah, and I mean, if Hiko had just taken more contact while they were coming through the smoke, it would have been another one of those rounds, I'm telling you right now, Blue, where they would have just gotten like 1 death, you know? But luckily for Renegades, he wasn't taking contact, and it caught the door player off guard, and he died without, you know, doing anything.
Well, they're going to again go out over here through the tunnels pretty quickly. And this time, there is only 1 player to support this. It's Hiko, and he's got a FAMAS to play with. Already down to 11 HP after that first exchange. And he still is not only going to grab that kill, but he'll grab Rush, who attempted to swing in through the door. Same thing for Naf, too. They all just essentially run into the members of the Renegades here. So it's a pretty quick shutdown, and it's them who only lose 1 player in this exchange. And now we are tied once more, just like we're back over at 1-1. It is going to be now 3-all here, as OpTic has lost the advantage, and they will essentially be forced to full save here. Maybe an upgraded pistol or 2, but that is for the most part going to be it.
Yeah, I mean, they lost the advantage, and Renegades has a lot of money because, you know, the rounds they won, they won the last 2 rounds very, very cleanly, and before that round they won, they took a lot of guns with them, right? They just kept a lot of the guns that they won on that second round. So their bank is built up really, really well, 3-3. OpTic saving right now should be an easy kill for Stillo on Naf here, you would think, and they're looking to roll into a really good T side on Dust2.
Naf again posted up in a position over here with these, as Ustillo essentially waits for him to push back in. He'll sit behind the doorway. And once more as well, we can see Ustillo pushing his way out here against Naf, moving in towards it. He will be able to swing in for that kill. Naf, unfortunately, is not really prepared for it. Thankfully, the rest of OpTic, positioned in mid, will be able to swing pretty quickly over here towards A and attempt to actually move out towards Cat 2 to defend this. Just not the best position for Tarek, as he is caught sitting there in the elevator. Azur gets himself a nice, essentially free kill. And these last two are stuck in CT. Again, not really a whole lot that they can do with a 2v5 and essentially no damage done, so this will most certainly be a fourth for the Renegades. They'll take control of the map now.
Yeah, no chance for any of the OpTic guys to do anything. Hiko gets caught in spawn, dies there. Russia's Shadow being shown, so easy kill for AZR and JKS, who's supporting him from behind. And now OpTic has a decision to make. We'll see if they buy. Looks like a P250 on NAF. It looks like it's going to be a very conservative play call here, and maybe a half buy or something like that. But then again, like the thing I don't ever agree with is if you half buy here, and they don't, so they don't do what I was saying. But if you half buy there, it makes no sense because you should have done it the round before, you know? So they offer a full save, so this upcoming gun round after this round, they're going to have full cash, full money to do whatever they want with. They'll have full utility, everything they need to win the round. Renegades takes a very early long control, so if they want to go back cat, they know nobody can be, long or anything. Most likely they're on the stairs area. It usually leads to a very easy cat take, but they have 4 outside long A, 1 person lurking in the B tunnels, and now they're just taking it slowly, methodically. That's what you like to see in rounds like these. Make sure you don't make any mistakes. They opt to smoke on Xbox, 1 player walking up catwalk with support with 2 behind.
They move up through the cap position here now. Mixwell waiting around the corner. Ustillo is actually caught, but there's players to support him, thankfully. Mixwell, well, he's not on point with his aim. So we do see Nap moving in for 1 trade. And as the rest of the members of OpTic try to get aggressive here, for the most part, they are shut down pretty quickly, with the exception of that kill on JKS. Azur gets a nice 2-piece right at the end there. Tarek and Hiko both get knocked out. And it is going to be another one for the Aussies here now. Up 5-3 as they are starting to get great control on this T side, but at the same time, this is now only the beginning of where we are seeing the guys from OpTic trying to build up their economy. So they haven't had a huge chance to strike back just yet.
Yeah, those were 2 nice kills by Azur there. But, that was dangerous. They were all lined up on the catwalk there. Had Mixwell gotten that first P250 kill, like, we might have seen something very, very different occur during that round. Luckily for Renegades, he wasn't able to land the shots, but I don't necessarily agree with the overall strategy there, doing the Xbox smoke, then taking catwalk, because you're leaving yourself exposed when you just walk up the catwalk with 3 players like that. That was 1 shot, P250 headshot range on Mixwell on that first kill. Just luckily for Renegades that they missed it. The guy even had a flash out. So strategically speaking, like, those are the things that are really troubling me when I'm watching this Renegades team, that if they really want to beat and get to this next level from where they need to tighten those things up.
So it is still a group up in mid for the Renegades now, as Azur initially deploys the smoke, but Molotovs will prevent him from moving in any further. And again, it is a fairly ignorance, it's a large amount of ignorance from OpTic in mid. They don't deploy any players to watch out for this one. And they will do a split initially as Azur just goes for the drop down. The rest are going to regroup either in mid or inside of those B tunnels, where once more they'll attempt to push back out. We have this player sneaking in. He's shut down, and it's not just here either. It's Tarek back over here on the B bomb site that for the most part has been punishing things. 3 quick kills on the op for him, and all of a sudden it's down to Yam. OpTic on their first gun run after we had that volley of rounds at the beginning. They traded out, and now they're 1 round behind, tying us up again.
Yeah, and OpTic really countered their play there very, very well. Just an op in B tunnel, anytime you're doing any type of a contact B play. Hiko and Tarek are just much too disciplined to rotate off B there. There's even a smoke in the tunnel, so not only are they going up against an op, but they're going up against going through a smoke grenade. So they're just have almost no chance of really killing Tarek there. And I think we've seen it a couple times now where if you're Renegades, there's times where you can slow it down. You could say, hey, just give it some time. Wait out this smoke. Wait here. Let's not force things. And instead, they do force things, and it's really getting themselves in trouble.
Rookie again posting over here at T-Spawn, looking for that crossed upper on the CT side, but not getting the chance at it yet. It's Tarek, and he's held passively back, waiting for players that would actually push through the mid door here. Well, they'll get it, but it won't actually be Tarek that goes down. It's actually Rush this time. Azur pushing through. No follow-up upon it just yet. He quickly falls back in the event that someone else from OpTic wanted to move in to retaliate. They'll just be split 2-2, however. Won't be wanting to put that pressure back in. And this may work out, as it does appear as though the Renegades may take this over here towards the cat play position. After a few seconds of delay, though, and not seeing anything, Nat falls back. Mixwell with a bit of a crucial miss, though, as he does go for the drop down on the boxes there. He moves away from this one, too. Molotovs from the CTs will hold him back, so again, they cannot follow through with this just yet. But a lot of these CTs have now taken some damage, both Mixwell and Tarek, to both of the oppers, down at 42 and 29 HP, respectively here. and still plenty of time to work with as well. A minute on the clock here, a whole load of utility for the Renegades to use upon this entry. 3 Molotovs were in there when they just started talking about this a moment ago, and in they go. Nap, though, is going to be sneaky inside of the smoke. They haven't checked on top of that box. They do now, but it's after the flashbang is expired. He'll get 1 kill as he gets traded back out, and it's not only here as well. JKS back over at long, trades out the frag on Ahiko, and finds a second one against Mixwell. Tarek, there's nothing he can do playing way over here at B. He'll be able to grab that kill against Yam with him getting aggressive, but now he's on the run trying to fall back to save, but someone is going to immediately contest this in the upper tunnels. It's Ustilo, and he grabs the headshot to put him down and disallow for any saves from the side of OpTic.
That was very intelligent by OpTic though. They had a really bad spot, being down in that 4v5 as Rush died to, I believe it was Yam at the middle doors. Nap does a really nice sneaky play right there. Unfortunately for him, he gets blind and gets traded out. That was pretty cool by him. Having said that, OpTic took a calculated risk. They took 3 towards A there, and they actually had a very good chance of winning that round. Had Naf gotten 1 more, had Hiko not dropped the ball on that long kill, they would have been in great position to do it. Mixwell, from his very early on success on that Cobble game, he's been pretty silent, since then. I think he's, over like 0-8 right now or something like that, so that's something you almost never see, 0-6. From a player of his caliber. So he's having a little bit of a rough one right now, and Renegades is getting the better of OpTic right now. OpTic not much in the bank. If they lose this round, they're going to be on an eco. They don't have any utility. They have pretty low, guns-wise. So, and having said that, they're not even taking too much of a risk, right? It's more of like a default setup. So this could be a really tough round for them to win here.
But the rest of the guys from the Renegades here now, after stacking up in the tunnels, it's a bit of a late deployment here down towards that middle staging area outside of the doors. But there's no one from OpTic that is going to directly contest this now. With the exception of the play from Mixwell with a shotgun back over by the long doors, and everyone else is still sticking to this usual 2-2 split that they've been working with for the past, well, basically this entire CT side now. It has been their go-to style of play. But as time gets slower, and Renegades do go for a much slower style of execution on this round, they run it down to about 30 seconds. Mixwell, though, takes out the player at long, and I think he's got it up on the floor that he can trade this out for as well when the actual hit comes in, assuming it still follows through on a cat. Ricky, though, getting that kill into B may send them spiraling in the other direction, and that's exactly what is going to happen. It's opened up the site. There is still someone in position here. It's going to be Tarek, but very quickly he's going to be crunched upon, and this is going to be tough to hold back off. Gets JKS swinging around, though, fails to account for the second player in the window spot, and now Azure outside. There's only 8 seconds on the clock, but the T's do have control of the site, so they'll be able to plant. Azure toying in mid. Well, that's not going to go too successfully, as Mixwell, now armed with his op, shuts down Azure, eliminates him. Ricky moving out here. He's hunting for players to cross the doors, but no one is going to oblige to that. They've all already gotten themselves up to the wall position, and they have a man advantage for this retake. The guys on the Renegades, well, they're just going to play close up and contact on this one. A missed shot from Ricky, that's crucial. He goes down. You still able to trade, playing from the same corner, trying to get the second player that's pushed into the doors, but it's not meant to be. Naf will shut him down, and it's another round for OpTic as this map continues to be close, and teams battle for essentially 1 or 2 rounds control of the lead.
Yeah, and just a very, very questionable decision there at long A to just walk out with an op and no support if you're Yam. And you're just got to be wondering, what is he doing when you're Mixwell? That's what you say when you're Mixwell. He's like, what? Why did you just do that? You have a player going towards B, you have a player walking out long with an op, and then you have a guy CT spawn dropping. I'm just not sure of the general strategy there employed by Renegades, and just questionable decision making, in a spot where they were in really good position to take control of this game.
Well, now the Renegades will fall back here and work their way over towards, again, after that initial deployment, I should say, from Ricky, they will fall back and regroup outside of those mid doors and go into their usual type of strat, even after losing that one there. OpTic, still no change up in terms of the pressure being applied to mid here. Still relying on the guy that plays doors at B to be able to watch out for a wrap out from that position. So it's still an open door for the guys of the Renegades to try to push through should they want to. But now it seems as though they will be, at least initially, opting for a bit of a long play combined with cat pressure here. Naf will be the tag player to watch out for the cat presence. While in the meantime, you do still have a player in pit as well that hasn't been revealed just yet, and Mixwell to watch out for long pressure. Mixwell, again, trying to assist with both angles here, but the initial attempts at poking out onto this site from the Renegades have not really gone well, so they are just going to fall back and I think take this into the B tunnels now, along with a possible mid-split to work with this too. The bomb most certainly committing itself to B, And as the rest of the players will soon follow suit, they need to go out onto this site. 38 seconds left on the clock. They don't know what exactly. Again, they should by this point have a semi-decent idea, but if there were any change-up, then they might be able to figure this one out. But I think they already spotted the defense when they went for that presence push on A before. But Tarek peeking out finds the first kill. He knows there's another one close back up, but no support on window at all. He doesn't realize that he got that close. So Azur, he's going to catch the trade kill. He now flushes Tarek back outside. He'll give this up. There's still a presence by those mid doors, too, that can cut off the rotators, but Azur's going to go through. That's a mistake, though, as Tarek is going to be able to punish that. And he has the Opper isolated. The last one for this T side is alive back over here. He fakes the plant. He's letting Tarek push back in, and he gets him. The bait works perfectly. He takes him out of the mix. And now, look, one of the Ts is chasing down another player that pushed in the tunnel. Somehow he wasn't spotted, but look now, Rush. He's able to get behind that cubby before Ricky can actually find the spot with him. So he's taken down JKS. Ricky's just going to walk right up, but he can hear him now. He's ready for it, and the missed shot will seal the deal as OpTic defuse the bomb and again pick up another round.
That was a crazy round, man. Like the Tarek just coming out of the B doors to stay alive, the player pushing window, dying to Tarek, the player in B tunnels chasing the other player in B tunnels. You know, that was Rush. That was hectic, Blue. That was very hectic. That was tough to follow.
Well, it does follow itself in OpTic's favor, as they now have tied things up for a third time in this half now. We've went 1-1, we were 3-3, and now we're 6-6. And the Renegades grouping up very early again towards the mid doors, but we also already have a player in the upper tunnels. Fast mid-B split. Nav could shut this down. Tarek's even helping out with it as well. He's found a player. Nav actually striking too early, though. Those players held back at the mid doors, and Tarek got really aggressive to find a trade kill. But it's Hiko outside of the B tunnels, hiding in the same corner where they shut them down previously, and Mixwell with the secondary up. He's brought it down to just JKS. Even trying to figure out where the bomb went. He finds it, though, sitting up on top of these rafters here. And we'll see what he can do about the 1v3. He's actually given access to the site. I don't think they fully realize where he's at right now. So he could, at the very least, be able to put this bomb on the ground, but gets aggressive towards those tunnels. And while there's a double stack from OpTic, he cannot punish it. Rush will put it down. It's OpTic with the lead once again.
Yeah, and that early success that they had at B early on, you know, when they threw that flash to the smoke. You know, I told you at the time, Blue, I said, it's just not something that's going to work out more often than not, and all of a sudden, all their B hits, they tried it again, Tarek got like a 3K, they tried a mid to B, Tarek shut him down, stayed alive, and then they tried another B hit there, and Tarek shut him down. So Tarek on this CT side of Dust2 is just dominating these Renegades guys at that B side of the map. And they don't need to, you know, do anything crazy here. They're doing a little bit different, though. Tarek's a bit more aggressive at mid. They have a player on catwalk. And now they're showing some early aggression against these Tech 9s. So we'll see if they're going to try to, you know, obviously they're trying to make it 4v5. But it's a different look for this Renegade side, right? They've been very, very passive around middle. They've kind of been conceding map control throughout this first half, and now all of a sudden OpTic's kind of challenging a little bit more.
Well, we have the Renegades now pushing their way after moving in for that same usual opener that they go for towards the entrance to the long doors over at A, and it's only Rush here. They've sometimes positioned a two-man team, but they finally actually changed up their mid-defense strat a little bit here by placing two guys outside of the B site to watch over that. Again, not actually playing contact at the door itself or even a close-up angle, but just waiting for them to swing on the B. So it's left the A site quite vulnerable, and this is good for the Renegades to take advantage of this one. Rush, if he can even get one kill here, that would be fantastic, and he gets it. And it's not only this, too. Mixwell is found out in the open from the top of the ramp, and you still is going to be able to punish that from at range with the Tech 9. Now Naf finding a couple trades. The smoke will come in, though, and he doesn't want anything to do with this take. He'll fall away, and he's going to let his teammates get into position for the actual retake itself. They've evened it out. They've brought it down to a 3v3, so they most certainly still have a chance of this, especially with the fact that one of them is still working with the Deagle there. That's going to be Ricky, however, and we saw the work he was able to pull off with that in the last map there. Now, though, they push back in on Cat, and they currently don't have a big presence watching for Cat. Most of it's at long, so they'll lose Usilo up on the site. Ricky immediately gets just shot in the face and put down to the ground. So for JKS, well, unfortunately, again, while he has a long position here, he doesn't have an op to try to play with these guys, and overall, I don't even think he's going to contest the plan. He's just going to sit back in the corner here, let this bomb get defused. He'll let OpTic pick up another round, and Hiko will take out JKS, disallowing for any saves on the T side.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a big mistake by OpTic. They completely overplayed B in an unnecessary fashion. We saw that was like almost the same reason they lost that second round. Remember, they just kind of left A open, and they almost did the same thing. They had 3 towards mid B. Rush was really late getting to pit, and as soon as he gets to pit, they just start walking out, and the timing on him peeking was very poor. And then Mixwell just gets caught up, you know, not realizing somebody's on Cat. So Tarek makes it 4v5 onto Yam right away, and we'll see if they try to brute force into B again through this smoke.
Well, Hiko now positioned back over here on the platform. He knows they're coming in, but is actually caught off guard when they finally do push through the smoke there. It's Tarek with the trade, and he's been going off this half now. He's already got 2 kills on this round, 3 more in the sight. He finds a path through the smoke where he's saved, picks up the kill. Ricky trades the player in the window, but again, Tarek is allowed to just go off here. He gets 4 kills before finally going down to Ricky, but now Ricky is alone with a 1v2 situation. Can obviously trade this out for a rifle or something like that, but his focus is mainly on them retaking from mid. He's not really accounting for the tunnels currently, where both of the members of OpTic are going to try and swing back in from here to eliminate him, and he even moves all the way outside too. There's still a minute on the clock. This was very fast paced, so he certainly has the time to do what he's doing now, which I do believe is wrapping this through CT and trying to take the bomb over towards the A site. But the guys from OpTic, well, they're hot on his heels. They already realize that he's done this. They already realize that he is heading over towards this other site, and they are going to be able to sneak over here and try to retake for themselves. But now that he's given himself the extra time by rotating over here, he still has a chance to clutch this one out. But it is going to come down to the appropriate read of where exactly OpTic are going to do this for him.
Yeah, and they decide to go one long, one on catwalk. So Rush is going to need to, find out where he is pretty early on.
Pretty early here, so he'll be able to recover. And with that, the second flash hits just as he picks up the kill on Rush. Now he can fall back on this one. And Mixwell, well, he'll move in and immediately jump onto it. He's got a smoke to support him too. The shot's got to be on point, and we're seeing it's a miss. That's all he's going to be able to do. The snake defuse comes in there for OpTic Gaming, and they will pick up another round. So while they started off a bit slow, they weren't able to swing it back in their favor due to the heroics of Tarek on the B-bomb set, along with their other players. The second half, guys, is coming up in just a little bit. Stick around right here at the ESL Pro League.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
A sign of life, possibly from the Renegades there, as they do get themselves off to a good start here on Dust2. Ultimately, though, it is OpTic and mainly Tarek that swings things back there with his heroics in the op on the B bomb site. That does allow them to hold a 9-6 lead here on Dust2. Now we go into the second half, and Daze, what are we going to see in the second half?
Well, I think OpTic is just a lot better than Renegades is what it looks like. A lot of the rounds that Renegades won were simply based off some mistakes on OpTic's part. I mean, like just blunders, like positionally speaking, where they just have 2 go mid to B on an anti-eco, Rush the only player at A, watching Long and Cat together, losing that round, allowing them to get that economic advantage, just flashing through the B smoke and losing that one in a very important round, which, forced OpTic on a very bad, economic buy and pushed them into a save and whatnot. So I think when you look at that and you look at the way Renegades actually won the round, it was like a lot of the time just off OpTic's mistakes, not holding things properly and things like that. It wasn't necessarily off, Renegades doing really well, strategically speaking, or making really good plays or trade killing properly. And then we saw, even going back to Kabul, the rounds that they lost were just like, bam, 4 deaths right in a row. And even going here, Tarek, multiple 4Ks, and things like that, where they just can't trade on these people. And the reason they can't trade on them is because the general strategy, overall is just to like brute force something and hope that the guy, misses a shot essentially, and Tarek's not going to miss.
So now we do go into the second half, guys. OpTic Gaming, once again, for anyone that is just joining us, is currently holding the lead with a 9-6 scoreline. 3 rounds in their favor, but the pistol round for the Renegades potentially could immediately swing this in the other direction. Keep in mind, however, that currently OpTic are flawless in pistol round victories so far. Among the 2 maps that have been played, they are 3 for 3. We'll see if they can make it a 4th, or if the Renegades can finally get one on the board for themselves. It's not looking too good at the start, but Yam coming in with a bit of heroics on his own. He at least catches that trade, but there's too large of a presence sitting on Cat for him to be able to deal with that. Now Ricky up close, trying to swing wildly here. JKS finishes the job of which Wiki started there against Rush, and that'll push them away from the doors. Ultimately, they're just pushed into the tunnels again, and they'll read this as a B hit. We can see additional presence actually being applied to Long, and again, I actually going to correct myself, they don't read this as a B hit. It seemed like 2 were going to push their way up towards the site, but instead they just go 1-1-1 all across the map here. Along with Ustillo having the aggressive presence, and keep in mind, he has a kit in check too, which means if they keep him alive, they still have that extra time to defuse. Ricky, though, finding the nice one-tap on a NAF, brings it over to 2. He knows that the presence is going to shift its way over here, and that will call for Ustillo to rotate. But after applying that pressure there in mid and smoking it off as well, they're going to try something a bit different. They move back in and they go for Cat instead. But look at this. The guys on the Renegades have read this. They're already moving one in from CT. Ricky's looking out for this one. Ustillo grabs the kill, and Ricky grabs the final one. So the Renegades finally picking up a pistol here, their first one this evening. And with that, they have a chance to immediately tie this game up again.
Yeah, and Renegades is one of those teams where I think when they really get the ball rolling and they're able to, you know, just like win multiple rounds in a row, they're kind of one of those momentum-based teams, in my opinion. So winning the pistol round is kind of a must. You know, you got to at least win one of these against OpTic, right? So they go 1 for 4, finally pick up that CT side pistol. But this is actually one of the harder maps to win the second round on when you're on CT, just because of how easy it is to like just go up A with Deagles and things of that nature and get the bomb down. So the round, just because OpTic is, you know, has Tech 9s and a couple Deagles, it's definitely not, you know, like super favored to Renegades or anything. It's a map where you could definitely win on the second round. Having said that, OpTic going into almost like a stack here with 3 towards mid B. A perfect flashbang for Azure as he runs towards the mid doors, gets 2, gets 3. No real trades going on for OpTic. Turret coming up in that upper B tunnel just gets shut down by JKS. So very, very clean by Renegades. And that's something that they really, really need to start with. Dust2 could definitely be a very CT-sided map, especially if you get like a double op setup and you're able to consistently make it 4v5 and whatnot. So good job by Renegades there, and it's good to see them, you know, start out a half strong.
And off of that, again, we can see how clean the sweep up was here from the replay once more. Hazard. Yeah, just not letting anybody through those mid doors. It becomes a corpse field pretty quickly. Now we go into the full save from OpTic, and again, we don't really expect anything super interesting here. They post up passively outside of Long in the event that guys from the Renegades here did want to try to push their way forward up Long and try to punish this, but it's not going to work. And Ustillo, with a very casual tapping away on the UMP there, finds a crossing NAF, is able to take him down already. We've even got Azure now trying to push in aggressively here, but it's a very light amount of it being applied. He falls back, and no, actually dips back in. It's a good nade from Ricky, and we do see more of them as they do move in to basically crunch them in with the Long and Cat push coming in at the same time there to easily pick up that 9th round without taking any losses. And now we will be tied here as a pause comes in. I'm going to assume of tactical nature from OpTic. It is a bit early, obviously, but again, we're not actually aware of what the pause cause is at the moment, so we'll figure that out in a second, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see what Renegades opts to do here. I mean, they have 4 umps and an M4. A lot of the time you see like a lower mid-B crunch, you know, on a round like this where you don't have the you know, pressure to really just full buy right away. You don't want to, you know, get rid of these umps because they obviously are very powerful. So just a pure economic buy. A lot of times you could do like a lower B crunch, maybe 1 on catwalk, 2 lower B, 2 upper B, or something of that nature. 2 on catwalk, 1 lower, 2 upper. Looking at the stats here for Renegades, though, AZR bouncing back from a poor performance on Cobble is looking strong now, and Tariq is just like paving the way for OpTic, though, like hard carry mode right now.
And off of this here, in the first gun round, we can see it. Yeah, just to mention again there, to the scoreline for Tarek, still 21-14. Much of this being carried over from the first half. And now we need to see him come alive in the gun rounds for this T side as well as the CT side. But as JKS swings out here, he's going to get not only 1, 2, again, trying to make the best of work with these SMGs, but it's Tarek and Rush that do manage to trade out the kills. At the end of the day, it's left to a 3v2, but they have additional presence at mid. It's only 1 more guy sitting in the B-bombs, and Ricky expects this, but it's still the kill for the mid player on that T side. That'll draw the attention of both the remaining CTs. They're going to move in against him. Mixwell, he'll take up a different angle. They have to come into his kingdom to fight, and there's 1, there's the second. Mixwell shuts down those remaining CTs, and it's OpTic that will keep their lead.
Yeah, OpTic wins that round. Again, I don't know. I'm wondering what the mindset was in order to, you know, go through the B smoke and a Molotov. Luckily for them, they're able to trade. They're going through a smoke and a Molotov there. a smoke and a
Yeah.
Molotov. Like, I'm very surprised that they were able to win that round. Mixwell comes up big as the lurk roll in that 4-1, able to get the 3K and close it out. And now Renegades, though, they're still able to buy. There's only 2 players alive on OpTic to close out that round. So this is very, very important for both teams right now.
Well, we can hear Ricky sitting back down here below again now behind the Xbox. Going for that aggressive peek early on and having the smoke to be able to support that, and allow him to do that pretty freely. But nothing is going to bite on that attempt to fish out some of the players here from the T side. They go for a delayed play to actually group up in this area of the map. But Flashbang's out here, and Ricky, well, he's going to immediately be forced back. That gives them the room to move in, but again, I don't think they're actually going to be capitalizing on that. Just trying to force him and scare him away a little bit, possibly throw a false positive in the way of the CTs to get them rotating early. But instead, the early pressure here being applied towards Cat, or at least some of these nades and whatnot. They'll be smoked back out, but if they want to try and start things off a bit early here, they can certainly try to toss those in. But now, because they don't have any presence any longer in the upper tunnels, it's allowing these 2 players from the Renegades to push directly in. Both JKS and Ricky, they'll move up, so they know for a fact that the presence isn't here right now. They can actually crunch them a bit. They're expecting this to come mainly from Cat, and look, they both have turned away, so if the JKS wants to go forward with this, he can catch them. Hiko's here now. He's able to hold off that kill, but not against Ricky on the trade. They go 1 for 1, but now they know the presence has to be a little bit weaker here at mid. They'll move into the drop player here. Azure, well, he adjusts a little bit early, but he still finishes the kill. Unfortunately for him, though, Mixwell is going to move back in and finish the job. So we're down to a 3v3. It's still even across the map, but in the process of all of this chaos, they did give up full control of the B site, and it was just a walk-up for those mid players there. Now you're looking at Ricky sitting back at the edge of the tunnels. He's hoping these players push him, and while they will, he will miss the important op shot there. Tarek will get the kill into him. Mix also finds one on Eustillo, and for Yam, there's nothing left to do in this 1v3 with him still being positioned, I think, up on Cat at the time that those kills happened. So now he's got to fall back and save his rifle, and it's going to be an 11th for OpTic.
Yeah, 11-9. Yam trying to save his gun there. That B push kind of ends up working against them because they immediately go into a B, a mid B. Ricky's stuck in tunnel with an op, and they kind of concede the site. AZR gets dropped on from CT, so he's only able to go 1 for 1. And it definitely favors OpTic. As soon as they got that Molotov down at the B tunnel and were able to, plant freely, that double peek was really, really impressive by them. One, just right away, both peeking the tunnels at the same time. Ricky couldn't do much. It's a very favored T-side shot, or peeker advantage shot when he's posted up there. And even if he does get one, he's gonna get traded out and put it into a 2v2. So.
Heading into our next one here, again, unfortunately, it does not allow for the Renegades to have enough utility still to buy into this, so Yam's rifle, which was saved from the 5th round, is all they're going to have. But they've got a big stack of players at long, smokes to support the T's, but Hiko, Flash, they don't actually see him originally, but they do now. Yam and Eustillo getting those kills. Tarek tries to turn it around. However, this is still very CT-sided here now. They've picked up massive amounts of kills. That should, in theory, be an extra rifle, because someone did fully commit if they want to go out towards long and pick that up, but doesn't seem to be the case. For now, those 2 other CTs are just going to stick with their P250s, and OpTic have to take a bit of a pit stop here, as they've all of a sudden lost most of their pushing power. Naf is the only one left at full HP. Mixwell's down at 25, so he has to play very carefully as well. And it's now the Renegades all of a sudden, as they were on basically just a safe round with the exception of Yam. Yam did work with that rifle, and now it's turned the round into one where currently the Renegades have a bit of an advantage.
It's pretty 50-50 to me, because NAF is controlling the guns right now. So, I mean, they're stuck on 2 P250s. Yeah, it is 3v2, and Mixwell's, low on HP. But pretty simply, if they could, take up the A site, maybe trade, or NAF is able to get 1 kill and get the bomb down or something, it could definitely be very OpTic-sided. I don't think it's like a huge advantage for Renegades or anything. I think it's pretty 50-50 at this point, as they're going to walk up long and just take like an initial gun battle here. And immediately, NAF wins that one, but Yam is able to trade it out, and this puts Mixwell in a tough spot, because he's low HP, so he holds on the corner, and it's tough for him to cross right now.
And now moving in here, he does get baited into peeking fully, which will bring him out into the open against Yam, where he can finish the job. That'll be a big 4K on the round from him. And again, we can see the action happening over here at long. That rifle doing work. Yam saving his team. That one save ended up to be a miracle save, and it did allow for these CTs to upset now, as they're once again going to be closing the gap. This entire map, we've been, like I said, within 1, 2, and at the most 3 rounds of the half within tying things, and now we go right back to that for the second half.
Yeah, and putting them on an eco like that, I disagree with throwing a corner smoke in that situation. I don't think you should throw a corner smoke, and Hiko there makes a mistake as well. Probably didn't, I mean, obviously he was blind, but had he just jumped right into the pit, it really would have made them look somewhere else. Instead, he gets stuck on the ledge while he's blind, and allows Yam to just get a free kill on him. But had he been able to make it in the pit, they probably do win that round.
Well, we do see Ricky, again, sitting back over here behind the Tetris block and waiting for them to move in. A nice flick on a Tarek takes him down. That's the bomb going out, too, so they can adjust accordingly to this one now and prepare most of their players to watch out for a cat engagement. Molotov will even hold them off for a couple of extra seconds here, too. We don't see a full rotate off of B again, because they still could have fallen back and suddenly swung this back over towards mid or in the other direction, and they even start to suspect that, too, and there's reason to, as we do see the OpTic Gaming guys holding here, with the smoke still in position, the smoke still countering them out, so they're watching out for all avenues right now, and basically just take a note back, take a step back, slow things down here, and think about how they do want to play this. They will recommit the bomb into the B halls, and now move it upstairs here to see if they can try to make a play for this one instead. But full reinforcements are here. You've got a guy playing in CT to counter out the middle aspect if they try to split it, and a second player sitting just outside of the window that can also assist with this tunnel play, which is probably going to be happening in a moment here. JKS spots it early. Again, not really a whole lot of damage being done, but importantly, Naf kills the guy in mid. So all of a sudden, the defenses are a lot weaker here, and these guys have to take a moment themselves. 20 seconds left, though, so with the Molotov and the great utility usage overall here from the Renegades, is doing a perfect job of holding them back, but now it's just JKS in the car position. Flashbang has gone back in. Him and Yam are going to double team the second player, and for Mixwell and Naf, well, they have to do a miracle work here. Mixwell, the only player that's actually in the site being able to work this. They killed Naf. They left the bomb back, so I actually don't think he has enough time to get this thing on the ground. He's got to go out and try to get these kills, but no, it's not going to work. The Renegades will win it out by the timer, and they are going to be able to close the gap yet again.
Yeah, and even though that looked like OpTic might have been able to pull something out there, that long flank from, I think it was Ustillo, I'm not 100% sure, was coming so fast. And as soon as they were going to plant the bomb, he was going to backstab him. He was going to, put an end to that. So numbers-wise, that was a lot closer than it actually was. I don't think OpTic had much chance of winning that round when they initially missed that shot onto JKS when Mixel was posted up in the B tunnel. Had they hit that and they came, into the site barreling in very close, they definitely could have had a good chance. But as soon as that shot was missed, the long flank was just coming way too quickly.
Well, we have OpTic moving back in here now, again, quickly up towards the cat staging point before they actually move in towards A. You have Ricky as the point player for this. The first point of contact now behind the car spot. But there's no one else really in close range right now. They have a guy down at CT, but that can be somewhat hit or miss, so this is all coming down to Ricky. Deploys against the first one, and the high flash works out, but there is one player that missed it, so this is actually a good thing that he doesn't go in peeking this. He's going to let OpTic move in. They're essentially just full saving here with the exception of Mixwell having that op. So this is good that they play it back because it's still going to be a relatively easy retake with the overall amount of gunpowder they have. It's Mixwell that's got to do some serious work if they're going to have any chance of getting back into this site successfully. And we can see now they start to move in, just using the first bits of their utility too. That's the op gone down. There's only 2 remaining, and it is going to be a pretty easy retake here. Hiko is going to prioritize saving the op. He's going to fall back, and he is going to let them defuse the bomb.
Yeah, that's very smart by Hiko. Gets in the smoke, gets the op, runs away, just books it. But Renegades takes the lead, 12-11, and this back and forth battle, I think, is right now, it's definitely favoring Renegades. They have a decent amount of money. OpTic able to get that plant, so they're going to have pretty much a full buy here. But having said that, if they lose this round, they're going to be set back to probably 1 eco, maybe pistol armor or something of that nature. And Renegades is looking pretty strong here, and OpTic's T side is looking a little bit shaky.
And off of that here, now we do see the pause coming in from OpTic here, being utilized, as they do need to figure out what they can do to try and close on this match. They have overall, with the exception of right at the beginning, been able to hold an advantage, been able to hold a somewhat consistent lead.
But even then, Blue, I told you, the round they won, it came down to a 2v3, and the way they even got into a 2v3 was going on to B through a smoke and a Molotov, Like, that was like one of the big rounds that they won, and it was in a nature where, generally speaking, they're probably going to lose that. Going through a 4x4 doorway, we're talking about the Dust2 tunnels, this narrow entrance through a smoke and a Molotov, right? It's just not like a good idea. And that's what they did just coming out of a timeout. So that's why I'm like a little worried about OpTic and how they're going to play this out.
It's because of the fact that, again, in terms of like strategically, what do we think they need to do differently?
Exactly. And we've seen them, on Kabul, we didn't see much of their T side. We saw their CT side was phenomenal. And we saw a really good CT side here. They just had a couple, blunders, like when it came to that second round, for instance. I talked about it before. That was like a huge mistake. But their T side, though, we didn't see it on Kabul, so we're not really sure what to expect coming in. Obviously losing Stanislaw and seeing what type of decisions they make coming out of timeouts, coming into big rounds and things of that nature.
Well, now we do go back into it here, and it is going to be a gun round for OpTic. A 3-2 split initially, and it's a fast play from Mixwell outside here. Flashbang connects onto him, along with a 1 damage with the Molotov, so really nothing big there. But he'll just promptly fall back. And for the most part, nothing really is going to happen at the beginning of this round. We have to see OpTic go back, and I imagine group back up behind the Xbox there and outside of those mid doors. So just holding the standard positions here, with no one doing anything super aggressive early on. Same thing for the CTs too. You got you still holding this door, but you can't really imagine there's going to be any pressure applied here by the Ts anytime soon. So more than likely you won't see a kill happen from that. However, we do see Tarek. I noticed him doing that a couple seconds ago, but I didn't think he would follow through with it. Goes halfway up the tunnel, even though he has the smoke to support him. They realize what's going on, and it's going to be JKS that'll be able to punish it. Down goes one of the players from OpTic early again here, and they're not leaving themselves a whole lot of options at this point.
Yeah, they aren't. Another 4v5. This has been, going back to the last gun round that they had. Immediately, Ricky got a kill on Catwalk, I believe it was. And now another 4v5. So Renegades, Ricky's doing a good job making it 4v5 here. And now OpTic again, it has to make a decision on how they want to play this round out. Ustillo playing close to the doors. He hears exactly what's going on. He's probably going to have rotating time by the time he actually fights anybody. Good pop flash happens. OpTic able to get that kill. But you know what? All 3 players were seen by OpTic. Or by Renegades. They know exactly where these 3 players are, so they push one up into lower B, and they should be able to get 3 guys towards A right now to help. Azure comes up CT spawn, gets the double kill onto Rush and Naf. Hiko's spot is known. This is going to be a very difficult round for him to win.
Well, there's Hiko with 1 more kill, but he doesn't chime in for very much longer there. Ricky comes in with the last kill on the op, and it's another one for the Renegades pushing ahead here. They're even, on a couple of their players starting to build up a semi-decent bank as well. You got 5,300 enough for his own rebound JKS. I think it's like 7,000 or 6,000, excuse me, sitting on Ricky. Some of the other ones that are forced rebuy are a bit lower, but these guys are still in a really good situation right now, whereas OpTic, again, is kind of put into this arduous cycle of the half buy followed up by the full buy from round to round to round, and they just can't seem to find consistent impact.
Yeah, so they opt for a fast long on a Tech 9 armor round. Easy kill by Ustillo there, and now there's no follow-up. So again, another 4v5. But, having said that, I want to talk about Ustillo for a second, how he held long there. And a lot of the time, even though you get 1 kill, right, if it's a 5v5 scenario and you get 1 kill, a lot of the time it's bad, right? It's just bad. Generally favors the Ts to go 4v4. Having said that, Ustillo gets early information. He knows how many people are there. He probably knew that all 4 OpTic players were there. And he goes 1 for 1, but it takes him like 10 seconds or so from OpTic to do it. So all his teammates are able to rotate, and there's never going to be a follow-up in that case. Right after he gets that kill, he wastes so much of their time, and it's almost an impossible round for OpTic to win, as now they come mid-B.
Well, they're going to try to rush pretty quickly here against DM. He'll be overwhelmed, and unfortunately won't even be able to get a single kill. JKS is here to support. He actually taps in for a double before going down. Rush and Tarek, both are going to get eliminated, so very good odds at this point for the Renegades still to be able to move in and retake. However, both players over here on the OpTic side also working with rifles at this point as well, so they have a chance themselves. Naf, he'll be first up to bat here as they push into the tunnels, and they're oh so quiet, but he lines them both up, and he's going to get them both. Azure and Ustillo both have gone down, and that's it unless Ricky goes huge here. He's got to work against both angles. They certainly should have been able to hear him moving back up over here towards those B doors. And as he sneaks over towards the bomb, well, he's found contact on that, but swings in the no-scope from Ricky, but quickly Naf swings up from the tunnel and trades that before it can go any further.
Yeah, just an amazing round by Napfly there. Yam gets stuck. One of the reasons they won that round is because Rush just ran through that Molotov. A lot of people get scared there and they don't go through that. But Rush going through that Molotov, I'm not even sure if he got a kill there. But him just going through that Molotov and making Yam, shooting him in the back was a really big deal when it came to winning that round. Not obviously including Naf's great play, at the B tunnels.
Well, now we have the OpTic guys again going for the quick play in mid, but not accounting for the fact that someone could be outside of this doorway. Yam plays at the 1 and done spot, and it does lead to that effect. 1 and done, as he'll be knocked out directly afterwards. Bring this into a 4 versus 4. There is still a guy outside of the B halls, or excuse me, the B site. But JKS is going to quickly get eliminated because of that. Azure, though, spraying through the smoke. He actually has a little bit of an angle on top of that with which to see these guys going into the doorway, and he'll be able to punish Hiko. Mixwell, though, finding another kill against Azure, and it's brought down to 2 now for the CTs, but we had this a couple of rounds ago. He's still coming in on a really fast flank outside of the tunnels. They won't actually move in for the retake, but he will post, I think, outside here to try and see if he can get any of these guys, and no, maybe not. He's falling back now all the way to the gate.
Yeah, and I think that's a good example of, going 1 for 1 when you're Ustillo and they're coming out long was great, right? But then going 1 for 1 when you're Yam there at the middle doors, I believe that was Yam.
Yeah.
At the middle doors there is like catastrophic, right? It's so difficult to win the round because you're going 1 for 1 at the beginning of the round, right? they not only is that happening, but they're able to dictate the rotate. They know exactly where the rotate's coming. They know to cross towards B because Mixwell was off in middle. And just going 1-for-1 there makes it so hard to win around on Dust2. So you see the differences of when it's properly, you know, in a good time to go 1-for-1 and when it's a terrible time to go 1-for-1, like in that instance.
And off of that here now, OpTic, well, we're tied yet again. The Renegades, unfortunately, cash flow is not really working so great for them, so it's going to be another round where these saved rifles and the SMG, of course, are all they do carry into that next sequence. Just the M4, along with the UMP being picked up. Everyone else is either just buying a P250 or full saving in the case of Yam. And look at Tarek moving in. He jumps, though, and that's actually going to mess him up a little bit. It's Nap that gets both of those kills. Mixwell finding one more as they do try to push directly through, so this round will most certainly still be under the control of the guys from OpTic. A little bit chaotic there, but still, the Renegades try to play aggressively, and for the most part, it gets shut down.
Yeah, and a lot of lead changes this game, Blue. I mean, constant back and forth. Renegades taking the lead, OpTic taking the lead. I'd be curious to see how many lead changes there were this game, but it seems like OpTic is in good control now. 14-13, fully bought round. They're going to be able to buy again, even if they do lose this round. So Tarek just making it 4v5 right off the bat, and that is very, very, very bad news if you're RNG.
Picking up the op, finding the impact right from the beginning. Molotov will at least hold off in the event that Mixwell wanted to swing all the way inside here and try to go for early B control. But beyond that, the Renegades' members don't really have a whole lot of saving graces going for them right now. They have to split in terms of just overall, you know, if we split the map in half, they're 2-2 right now. No presence in the middle. That's a completely open door. Yasilla is watching out for long aggression, so if they go into A and immediately shut down Ricky, that's essentially the round right there, as there isn't really a great trade scenario hinted up there. If they do go into B, they do have the two players here, so they're probably going to be looking a little bit better, and that seems to be the current route of things. But with a minute left on the clock, OpTic would have no need to rush things. They still have a whole boatload of utility that they can use to get in and hold this bomb site as well. Looking at 3 smokes, 2 Molotovs, HE grenades to try and do some damage to these players just over the walls and whatnot, but they'll sneak in and oh, they're caught one player with a nade in his hand, and a second one is immediately shut down. Rush gets those 2 amazing quick kills, and just like that, the site is clear, and there's nothing that Ricky and Yasilla will be able to do. They're going to call a save here.
Yeah, and I talked about it on Cabo, those very, very small differences, right? Right there, they know, they understand, they don't have to, you know, as Yasilla is probably going to kill Mixwell here pretty easily, as he's just trying to get exits. So easy frag on him in a second. There we go. But like I said, well, as they're saving their guns, those small things. We saw OpTic in a similar situation. What did they do? They gave themselves a chance to win the round. They didn't just play 2-2. They played 3 towards A. Yeah, they did lose the round, but they had a chance to win it. Renegades there, they just stay 2-2 with almost no utility with a minute left in the round. Without taking a risk, it's very difficult to win a round like that on Dust2, where it's generally T-side favored in general, well, let alone 4v5 when you have no utility or anything like that. And then we saw it, you know, going back to Cobble even, like those just those calculated risks, right? And that's really what separates like these teams a lot of the time.
Well, they're going to push their way back out here. Rush finding Azure, Yam going down directly after that, and as we can see in the replay there. And for the OpTic members, well, they get themselves up to match point. And now, with the Renegades' last investment coming in, it's not the end of the world. Again, they have the opposite to work with here. They have the rifles to play with. JKS still just hitting those 3 kills out of nowhere, shutting down a fast attempt to play outside here towards B. And with a missed op shot, they know where Mixwell is playing out towards. So the Renegades may be able to hold on after all, but well, maybe not. Tarek got 2 kills back over here towards mid. He's battling it out. It will be brought down to Mixwell at the end of the day here as he moves in and goes for the plant now. Both, we'll see if they split it to send a guy into the tunnels, but it doesn't appear likely at this point. Mixwell still has like a Molotov to work with here too. It looked like he was checking out there to possibly throw it into the tunnels initially, but now he's just trying to play this up close. He can't try to swap this op out currently. He's also waited too long. He'll just play to the safe corner, sitting here inside of the site. They swing in. It's the no-scope from Mixwell. He knows where the last one is. He's trying to get him to peek. Very, very good restraint from him and good patience. But no, at the end of the day, Ricky swings out from the box stack and is going to shut that down.
Wow, that was a pretty crazy 2v1. Ricky with the, you know, jiggle peeks left and right, kind of just outduels Mixwell there. Mixwell, that was really impressive though, like just how he had the control to take his time and whatnot. But Ricky does get the better of him. JKS with 3 big kills right here. I'm not even sure how that round ended up in a 2v2 after that performance by him. But, you know, again, just opting for a B rush on 15-14. I don't know, man.
Tarek did some good stuff at mid, and I think that's what gave Mixwell the chance to win that after all. But it's JKS that sets them up to really shut that one down. And Afterwards, of course, now we sit within one round. We go to round number 30 to decide if this goes to OT or not. And Hiko, well, not the best start from him. He's naded out here inside of the A-long entryway, and Yusila was given free reign to push in and basically destroy him. It's a free kill early on. The advantage pushing the other direction. Yusila did take damage from that. He's down to 22 HP now, but still, the 4v5 is great for them to work this. And OpTic, well, they go with their usual response. There's really no formation into a site push yet. They're just grouping up over here outside of the mid doors.
Yeah, and 4v5, Hiko getting taken out at long. Not able to really do much in that long tunnels throughout this whole game. Just kind of nullified. Just generally playing for info, and a lot of nades come. He still gets aggressive. Hiko puts him down to 22. But, you know, having said that, he could definitely play like a one-and-done spot pretty easily along there, even with 22 off on an ump at that blue bin, or if he plays close, you know, outside of the doors.
Just waiting the time down here as the CTs did smoke off the long approach itself, as OpTic now, with their own smokes and whatnot, do prepare to push themselves into it. Molotovs over across the doorway, and we have Rush sitting back over here, waiting for the CTs to push aggressively. He actually fires a bit early there against Yam, so Yam will be given time to recover. He will not get the kill, but he brings him down to 12 HP. Now more moving in. There's Ricky with the op. Azur on the ramp, finding another one, and going for even more shots here as well. He takes down Mixwell. Rush is only at 12 HP. It looks like it, ladies and gentlemen, that this is going to go into overtime as the Renegades tie us up again now, this time at 15 rounds.
Yeah, and you have to go back to that B rush by OpTic when it was, you know, 13-15. I think that was very, very questionable, and just some troubling decision making, in my opinion. If you're an OpTic fan.
I mean, again, you brought it up over on the T side here. There was just a lot of sort of questionable strats that they did go for, a lot of brute force tactics, trying to win rounds. Well, it worked sometimes. For most of it, it didn't work, and it did allow for the Renegades to swing this comeback as they started down 6-9.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Mixwell got back into it pretty well after a very, very shaky first half and 16-17. Tariq, you know, after that 21 kill, first half performance kind of slowed down a little bit though. Meanwhile, on Renegades, a very balanced performance. You know, Yam kind of down there at 15 kills, but everybody else, you know, 23 or 22 across the board, kind of just getting it done as a team. So all of their players playing pretty well and pretty evenly.
Yeah, and you can see here, too, again, the big stars that have showed up for the OpTic roster. Tariq certainly still leading the path. He had a really great first half. I think he slowed down a little bit, was floating around 20 kills at the end of the first half, so we didn't see all that much from him. But Hiko also stepping up there a little bit, too, in terms of his kill counter, at the very least ending with 23. But back over here in the Renegades, big improvement, obviously, from a guy that was really struggling back over on the first map. Azur now actually leading the charge, tied with Ricky on his team at the moment with 23 and 22.
Yeah, and a good hold at that end there to take the initial contact, get the kill. Ricky opts somebody, and then he gets in the last two. So held the A ramp very, very well. And now we move into overtime. And OpTic is actually one of those teams that I think is always a really good overtime team. A lot of the time you'll see their players just kind of take it upon themselves. They're not afraid to do like a triple op setup in overtime, similar to something that you might see from an SK, for instance. You know, like, they're fine with just saying, okay, it's overtime. Let's change our look that we've been sending them. You know, let's do like a double or a triple op sometimes. Let's get aggressive at certain areas of the map. A lot of the time, I think they're a very, very good overtime team, just from their player mindset, so to speak. So I think I favor them a bit in overtime here, but at the end of the day, I think both teams just have a lot to work on from what I've seen. A lot of strategical errors, a lot of blunders that were really unforced, is how I would describe them.
Well, guys, it will take it to overtime, and I believe we play through fairly standard rules in OT here. It's 10K starting money with MR3. You need to win at least 4 out of the 6 rounds in total for the overtime to be able to actually win the game. If it's tied at 3-3, then it will just restart and go all over again until at least one team wins 4 out of a 6-round sequence. We'll jump into it, though, and we'll get started, and there we go. Mixwell, it looked like he wasn't buying anything for a second there, but he does pick up the AK at the last second. They don't pick up an op at all here, and the CTs at the same time also choose not to go for the double op setup, which is kind of the more aggressive movement to make. That's going to leave you with a lot less gunpowder if you lose that first round. And again, you're fairly standard, but nobody doing anything crazy here, as OpTic just sits back and waits to see if the CTs are going to do anything, and respectively pretty much the same exact thing on the Renegade side.
Yeah, and they just, you know, do a slow default right now. Xbox smoke, 2 coming towards lower. Bombs outside of B tunnels right now, with 2 outside of long A. So I don't know the game plan here. They don't have the bomb, but all 5 guys are towards A. What's the plan? What is the reasoning for that? I think they just realized it just now, and they wanted to just set up in a quick A take, but obviously the bomb is nowhere in sight, so they can't do it. And look, it's such a good call. It's such a good call for this A take that they wanted to do. There's one in CT spawn, there's 2 towards B. They wanted to execute when they had 3 catwalk there, Blue, and 2 towards long. They just wanted to do a simple split. But unfortunately, and there's no smoke on the bricks or anything. Like, they were set up so perfectly for it, and then they just dropped the bomb outside of B.
It'd be great to be in the comms right now.
Oh, I'm sure someone...
Someone just tilted.
I mean, I know the OpTic players pretty well. I've played with them a lot.
So the real question is, who started this round with the bomb? Whose fault is this? Well, instead they just go for a rehash mid to B split here, and they'll move out. Thankfully, things are still going good for them. Gamma, the car position, had a chance to turn it around,
all part of the
strat. Work.
As you see, brilliant strategy. No, but really, I mean, they absolutely 100% wanted to hit A there. They literally all set up, we're going to throw their smokes, and then looked at each other and was like, wait, we're missing, there's something missing here. There's something missing. As Rush able to get that kill onto Ustillo, and it looks like they're going to run this round fairly cleanly. Ricky outside, they know exactly where he is because they heard that scope, and he's going to get shot by Tarek. So, OpTic Gaming, beautiful job to leave bomb outside to be there.
And yet they do have to change it up really quickly, but hey, it ends up working out for them. So no reason to be mad at whoever spawned with that bomb and just tossed it to the side as they went into the initial B tunnel push, as they now have the lead. Just 3 more to go, and they will be able to take control of this second map and take a 2-0 for the evening here. The Renegades, though, the other thing to keep in mind here, too, is that the CTs, if they lose those first 2 rounds, their third round is going to be just, for the most part, a half-bot pistol round with, like, a decent amount of utility and whatnot. They really don't have the money with the 10K start to be able to force into that third round with full rifles and everything like that. So it's going to make OpTic's time easier to try and take it 3-0 at the start and be able to only need to claim 1 going into the second half, where they'll be on CT side.
Yeah, and they have really good positional advantage right now. I mean, it's 120 into the clock, but Yam makes a huge play at middle. Kills that guy, kills Tarek in the lower B tunnels, looking for more. Doesn't get it. 3v4, though, and Azur's towards middle, so they smoke out mid to A, actually, so that they could take a peek, but they don't go through that smoke. Azur still has control, and Ricky with that car, you know, an A ramp op is going to solidify that A defense. So Azur should feel comfortable playing towards mid here, or even going to the B side if he wants.
Well, OpTic again will move themselves over here into the upper tunnels, but it seems like the Renegades have a bit of a read on this one, at least with the 2. They don't have the extra possession over here on mid, and JKS, oh no, the molly spreads, so he does have to jump out. Thankfully the push to knock him in, but he still takes a lot of damage, ends up down at 12 after everything is said and done, so he's easy pickings if he swings wide here on this push. They're just firebombing the entire platform to force them off of it and give them a bit of a cleaner path inside. Flashbangs will not go in now. JKS is out quickly. Azur lines up 1 kill against Mixwell, but is then quickly traded back out. So this goes 2v2 on the retake. They lit up Hiko, though, so he's now down at 12. He'll be an easy target for them pushing back in. Ricky with the op, he may actually meet first contact with them here, so the HP's not going to matter much. Ustillo will, of course, try to change that as he's lurking in through the tunnels, and at the moment, nobody expecting that right now. So if he spots Hiko by the chain link fence, now, though, Hiko should be able to react, but no, he swings out, and that's going to let Ustillo grab the kill. It falls to Rush now, 1v2. He's hit by that flashbang, is able to adjust, but down at 28 HP. Ricky swings in before he can adjust, and the Renegades will tie this again.
Yeah, they do, and even though that middle push happened, they were able to put it into a winnable situation for OpTic, despite being down, I believe it was 3v4 there, just grouping up on that B tunnels, getting good trade kills. Rush not able to win the 2v2 with a Hiko, though, and Ricky gets a nice shot onto Rush after he dropped down to the site, but this was a good play by Yam. I mean, that's a little bit of a mistake by Tarek. Whenever your teammates are up towards catwalk like that, I think it's better to watch the middle doors a little bit more than the B tunnel and kind of react to the B tunnel push. But again, a lot of that just comes out of timing, right? You know, he just pushes towards middle. Tarek's kind of watching B tunnels at the time instead of lower side of middle, and then Niam just hit that perfect timing as Tarek just goes out long right away, holds the blue bin. Ricky makes it 4v5, and they immediately give up long. So there's an opportunity for OpTic to take catwalk right now and split A. Instead, it seems like they're going to slow it down and maybe look for a pick around middle or something like that.
Well, now OpTic, after losing Rush here, unfortunately split their players up. They have that long controls mentioned previously, but really nothing else to work off of yet. And there's a very large stack, so sitting over here on Cat. So in the event we do see OpTic follow through with a push on towards Cat here. This could go very bad very quickly. They decide against it, though, and are going to move over here towards long and essentially make all their push come in from here, which could work out, because they only have the one guy on the CT side watching for it. But now the Renegades, they push through. They're able to spot that, so they may adjust their positions as well to watch out for more of a long focused hit, and they'll get the chance to do that. As OpTic are going to take it slowly, they'll take the time to apply smokes in the cross and whatnot, which is going to make this a bit more difficult as they'll be ready for it. They swing out Tarek. He's actually, no, Yam is not going to get caught, or Yam is not going to be able to catch Tarek here. Naf actually picks up the kill. There's Tarek now catching a frag for himself. One more still sitting in this bomb site, and it's Azur further back there. He finds a trade on a Tarek. But the site goes under the control of OpTic, and for now the Renegades won't do anything to retake just yet. They'll sit back and they'll position themselves to move in against it. And they'll also give OpTic quite a bit of time to get into post plans. Thankfully, they have all three of them lit to some degree.
Yeah, but this is a very, very difficult retake because Mixwell's at long hair, especially coming through Catwalk with one CT. This is going to be a tough task for the Renegades guys. Luckily for them, Hiko overcommits and peaks, but Naf at this barrels is a very dangerous position. Mixwell crossfiring spawn. Now he can play the bomb timer.
Yeah, but he's just going to let it run down here. Azur, too, trying to bait him out at the very least. Azur, he'll get himself up on top. He's going to run over. He'll start defusing the ball, but I think Mixwell has the angle. Azur tries to change his position at the last second to get the kill onto him as the bomb was going to blow up anyway. But no, it goes by the way of OpTic. They take it, and they will take control of the lead coming off of the first half here.
Yeah, Mixwell is so impressive when it comes to just how composed he is. Never, like, just flails his mouse or anything like that. He's always just in such control. He never just, you know, just freaks out and like flicks shots and does something crazy like that might end up, you know, losing him the kill. Just so consistent and composed and like steady with his aim. It's really, really impressive to watch.
Well, now they do move in here. Rush, as we wait for the half, I believe, to actually get started. I'm just going to be frank. Sorry.
You think it was live there,
yeah,
bro?
no. A bit distracted at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should jump into the second half of OT in just a moment.
Yeah, I believe they still have to ready up, you know, after the half, the overtime half. Every time you still have to ready up. So a lot of the time it does take a second. We have the beautiful camera.
I always get distracted, yeah, because of these beautiful pans that
I know. I mean, you just kind of get lost in, you know, Priuses and Sapphires.
Yeah.
Incredible observing. I mean, look at that. It's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. Who is to say this map isn't beautiful and needs a rework?
I don't know.
Who is to say
Valve,
that?
apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Just, I mean, their beauty standards are just...
Oh, uh-oh. Oh, I thought it glitched out. I think he just spammed the key for it. They actually got it down to a science where they actually have all these like keybound and stuff, I think, too.
I mean, I would expect nothing less.
Yeah, I mean, we get the best observers in the world. They take it seriously.
Absolutely. I mean, if I was
Even though we just put them in the dark corner behind us.
I know.
Like,
if I was observing, I'd just be smashing my hand. I'd be like, yeah, just going like this on all the keys.
I think I got a kill. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, we got 1 out of 5 kills. I think that's good enough. Good enough.
So again, yeah, as soon as we get out of the beautiful sequence here, we should be ready. That's why I got confused, because every time we go between these like sequences and back to gameplay, I always think it's live, and usually it is live, so threw me off a bit there. But it's still a close game. There's still nobody really showing a huge lead at this point. OpTic start off strong, but they lose that last one. So now, if the Renegades are going to be able to bring some good stuff onto their own T side here and be able to take at least 2 of these rounds, then they'll have the chance to take this into double overtime. And if they can, you know, if they can win this straight out, then they're going to be the ones that'll be able to steal this one away.
Yeah, I mean, OpTic, after that last round, I think, you know, I mean, I don't know, man. Sometimes it's overtime. Anything can happen. Sometimes we see 3 overtimes, 4 overtimes, especially in this format where it's just, you know, 3-round GTAF. Renegades, though, just goes into a default. Ricky holding the bomb in middle, opping it 2 outside long, 2 towards lower B. And OpTic, again, just kind of conceding that middle control, not, you know, letting them have that catwalk control from middle. But this time, Mixwell does something a little bit different. He's opping on catwalk, and then he also has a pop flash ready from either Rush or Naf there. So as soon as he shoots, that flash is going to come. He could either re-peek with it, or he could drop down, you know, and have no fear of getting chased.
Well, we see Mixwell actually missing his initial contact shot here as the guys swing out to get the early control of the cat push area. Just drops away. Thankfully, he himself does not take a whole load of damage here. He's only going to drop to 80, and he'll just probably fall back and wait for the remaining players to move themselves in. If they do decide to follow through on this and go towards cat, they've got presence at long 2 to watch out for a late player that would move in here. At the moment, again, if things go the way they're looking right now from the minimap, that'll be JKS. But Mixwell actually is going to reapply the pressure, catches the head angle, but he did not account for Azur, who was already put up on top. So it goes 1 for 1. Naf, though, lining up a nice double tap against Azur to be able to trade onto him. Now Ustillo is actually going to swing out here towards mid and see what he can do through the smoke, and they don't catch that. He gets that kill. He almost gets the second one. He goes there to stabilize things, but then Yam peeking back at the mid doors. He'll move in. He'll take down Hiko, and this goes over to a 2v2 now, where the B-bomb site is open, and Renegades know this, so they're going to take full advantage on it.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get into B uncontested here, get that bomb down. Naf opting the cross. Gets smoked out, so opts for the M4. And now Renegades in a 2v2 post plant on Dust2. Both these players have been in this situation for a million years. And Rush should be getting... He should not have been able to get that kill. JKS gets caught jumping, and now Yam in a 2v1 in the site.
Yam is going to try to sneak himself out here and get aggressive. He thought that one of these members of OpTic was going to be playing up close to the wall or something like that, but no, he hadn't even moved out from CT yet, so they just get completely outmatched in that 2v2, making some mistakes there, and OpTic will be able to pick it up.
Yeah, very well played by Naf there. He's either thinking, as soon as he goes out there, he's either thinking it's double tunnel, or, you know, he could just take the initial battle at that guy, you know, right outside the doors, and then worry about the player from tunnel later, and play a 1v1 post plant from outside of the site. But Naf plays that very smart, just backs up in the CT spawn, anticipates that he'll push after Rush gets that kill, and waits for him, times it perfectly, just shoots him in the side of the head. Super easy round for Naf to win at that point when he makes that decision.
Well, the Renegades now again grouping up, and you have your fairly standard opener. Nothing super interesting happening here, except for Mixwell, who has gone more aggressive on Cat, gets himself boosted up on fast Cat maneuver, but then is going to promptly fall back, just hoping he could catch some more quick-paced aggression to lead up to that position. But if they're not spotting it, well, he's going to put himself still waiting for Cat presence to work its way in this direction. But there is no decision being made about that on the Renegades' side just yet. They'll apply like the usual amount of utility, but this is still fairly standard. The flashbang, no, they'll swing back out. He tries the timing shot, and it's enough to bait it out a little bit early, so he just falls back after that. And they will get control of the staging ground now. But again, it's still just stacked up. This is only to initially get the control. We'll have the follow-up smokes come back in from OpTic. They still have smokes, Molotovs, and everything else to hold them back too. But they're going to use their T-smoke, and I think actually Azur may try to leap in here and go for a bit of a drop-down play towards CT. In he goes now. There was something tossed down below. I think it was a smoke, but if this went properly, I don't know if anyone else on the CT side actually even saw him go in here. So he has free control of this right now, and if anybody rotates from B, at least the first kill is going to be caught completely off guard. Speaking of which, the play itself has switched up to a B play. Yam, there we go. There's that first kill that he catches. Again, it gets traded, but Yam himself there, it wasn't actually Azur, excuse me, that dropped down and got the first kill there. It gets traded back out. Now Tarek, we saw him do this in the last step, but this time, he's only going to be able to pick up one kill. That opens up the bomb site and does allow for this to be brought down to a 1 versus 3. Mixwell is now alone. He's going to try to move up to the wall here and go for this. At the very least, try and pop in and get a kill or two here. But certainly, a potential 17th round is on the brink for the Renegades, unless Mixwell decides to go off and clutch this one out by some miracle.
Yeah, a really tough position for him to be in a 1v3 post plant at B. It's almost an impossible situation unless, you know, you maybe catch him at the perfect timing while they're running to save or something and kill like 3 right away or something. But it's just really, really tough for him to win. He just walks into JKS's crosshair, dies immediately. And Azur there, when he gets into CT spawn, I love the decision making by him. He just stays there and he waits and he waits and he waits until the rotate comes, and then him and Yam, even though Azur didn't get the kills, Yam was just able to just peek off of his contact and just kill 2 in the side of the head and make that a very manageable round for Renegades. Even then, though, Tarek definitely could have won the round at B there, but I just really like this decision by Azur there to just stop and not try to push towards B and let his teammates take the site and trust them, and then worry about, you know, the rotate.
Well, now we have, again, a much faster positioning being taken up here outside of that B tunnel push for the members of the Renegades. They move up to the cusp of it, and we have 2 more sitting outside of mid as well, ready to move back in there and assist if this push actually goes well or if they can get that early shot. What we don't know yet if this is actually going to be followed through is this could just be some early aggression, and then they'll fall back and go to that same area outside of Xbox and around those doors. Ricky seems to be sticking here for right now. But nothing else. Again, everything is quiet. Everything's very tense as we do go to the final round of overtime, just like we went to the final round of regulation, and it ties up there. Now it has the potential to go double OT if the Renegades can clutch this one out, and we can see there's some sacrifices that had to be made on the side of OpTic in terms of what they bought in this round. They were able to get that op sitting on Tarek, but you have the SMG sitting for Hiko, and another downgraded rifle sitting on Rush as well. JKS now waits at the cusp of long as the other 4 are going to decide to push their way in through Cat. Everything's been quiet, but Rush gets aggressive. He moves in there, and he's able to find JKS. Now Mixwell preparing for the Cat play. Since they've been able to clear back out on long here, he flashes back in, does not have enough to play with, but that's a huge smoke setup there. Gives them free reign over the entire area, wrapping up Cat, leading up to the site. They'll have the ability to plant the bomb, but they're not going to be able to take down anyone from OpTic. All 5 players remain alive for the post plant and for the retake scenario here. Now the Renegades, they're all stuck in the backside, and some of them remain very far in the open. And these, in theory, should be somewhat easy kills, but OpTic themselves are being a bit cautious about how they move in for this retake because they know so little about these situations. There's going to be Mixwell, though, not just finding 1, but 2 of these kills. It comes down to Azure, who's burning in a Molotov at this point, and now he's the last man standing. 45 HP. He gets 1, but is then traded out, and that is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. OpTic Gaming will close out on a retake, and it'll be 19-17 to take control of the second map. It was a hard-fought battle. It was a very long battle, but they do take it, and they do take a 2-0 record for the evening.
Yeah, not Tariq, Mixwell there. They kind of look alike though, Blue.
They do, actually.
Plays it very, very well. They do a smoke wall to get into that A site, and he's, again, super composed, super patient, just waits and waits and waits and bides his time for the perfect opportunity to strike and go up that A ramp, gets 2 kills, and once he gets those 2 kills, just based off that 4v5 off Rush getting that entry, it's 2v5. Those catwalk players, I mean, they're able to push in through and just make sure they get that 1 trade kill. Like, Mixwell just made that round so easy on his teammates. Just a very impressive play by him. It seems like every time we're spectating him, he's doing something that I'm like, this guy's just, he's playing such good Counter-Strike.
All right, guys. Well, let's bring the analysts into the discussion now and see what their thoughts on map number 2. Stunna?
Blue?
What's up?
Wow. I mean,
up,
just a really close matchup all the way to the end. I mean, that obviously we're really early in the season, but that turned out to be by far a really good bout.
Yeah, we knew that it was going to be a good game, and we had talked about it a lot, how Renegades was going to come out a little bit stronger on Dust2 than perhaps on Cobble. But in general, it was just a really sloppy game. A lot of rounds going back and forth, a lot of rounds that probably shouldn't have even gotten to the point that they did. Very close situations, a lot of clutch potentials, but in the end, OpTic take it in overtime.
I mean, very much so in the beginning, even throughout the regular time there was a neck-and-neck race to 16. I mean, right off the bat, though, let's touch on Tariq.
Yeah, I mean, the most interesting aspect of his performance, the AWP. That's not something we're used to seeing him pick up as a role. And he actually did it across both maps. It wasn't just Dust2. He was opping on Cobble as well. So a bit of role change potentially there, as Mixwell was opping for them in the past. And it now gives them that dual op flexibility, which we did see come into play. But at one point, Tariq was sitting at like 26, 27 kills coming into the end of regulation. A lot of those rounds he was bailing them out of. It's very reminiscent of their match last night against Selfless on Dust2, where they relied on NAF. In this instance, it was, Tariq who was kind of leading the charge.
Let's take a look at round 12, where things were a little topsy-turvy. Kind of a ring around the rosy scenario. Walk us through it, Bach.
Yeah, so in general, this round perfectly embodies the way that this game played out. It's a chaotic round to say the least, and it comes down to a 2-on-2, but you can see how things kind of get to that point. So great Molotov in mid. Tariq gets a little over-aggressive here, gets the first one, tries to flash his way out. But before he can do so, Az has already made his way into the window. So now Tariq's in this kind of awkward spot where he's got to let Azza into the site. And Azza's going to jump up onto the boxes, go for a peek out. But Tariq at point-blank range goes for that shotgun frag with the AWP. So now it's looking like it's going to be an easy round for OpTic. It's a 4-on-2. Ricky's there with the AWP. JKS baits Tariq into the site. Ricky's coming up from the flank. There's actually a player coming into the B, and he's hot on his heels, but he doesn't get there in time. So it comes down to Ricky, and at this point, I believe that was Rush, who's just on the other side of the tunnels. He knows that he's there, and Ricky misses the shot coming out with the no-scope. And it's a round going the way of OpTic.
I mean, Rush obviously hearing the scope there, and in which case he's able to set up and they're able to get that defuse.
Yeah, I mean, he could have even heard the footsteps at any point in time. He was running behind him, trying to catch up with him. A bit of a cat and mouse situation happening in B tons, but in general, that round is just the perfect embodiment of the game. Just back and forth. No one ever really had solid control.
The good old Tom and Jerry of Counter-Strike right here, also known as the OpTic Renegades matchup on Dust2. By the way, one of the last ones we'll see of the season. But getting back into it, I mean, let's talk about NAF at this point. I mean, NAF is obviously coming out, and he's still that impact player that we expected him to be.
Yeah, his performance wasn't quite as good as we might have expected it to be, especially based on what we saw on Cobble, but he still showed up at various points throughout the match. In general, it was kind of just the Tarek show for the side of OpTic. NAF was still there, but kind of faded into the background for this one.
Well, a really interesting round, and we're going to pull it up right now. It's going to be round 23. Renegades allows the plant. Let's take a look at this one, Bach.
So, I mean, this is what looked like it could be a catalyst for a Renegades comeback. You know, they lost the half after a strong start. This is an eco coming out from OpTic. They saved the op from the previous round. Ricky's playing Game Helper, and he flashes over. It looks like he wants to peek. He kind of just jiggles out, and then he realizes, I should not do this. Like, there's no reason for me to overextend. Very smart play from him. They know that they've got the op saved from the previous round, so Renegades opt to play a retake here. They've got 5 players. They've got the man advantage over OpTic, so they surrender that site and they let the bomb go down, and then the retake starts to come in and the kills start to pile up. Ricky re-advances from long with that AWP. Mixball gets smoked off. Players are dropping left and right. He tries to play the edge of the smoke. He can't really do much about it, and the kills go as they will. Hiko hides in the smoke and runs away and hightails it to the B site and then into T-spawn to save that AWP. So in the end, it's a solid retake from Renegades, and it was a string of rounds to follow after that that seemed like Renegades were going to bring this one back and potentially take it.
Well, obviously, the first doubleheader of our matches tonight is done and over with. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break. When we come back, it's going to be CLG and Selfless. But this Thursday, John Wick 2 hitting theaters. You should grab your mom, your dad, your brother. I will most likely already be there with your sister. So make sure you're in theaters to see that with us.